Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I am bringing you guys a mock draft on FantasyPros.com. Now, typically, I used to do Sleeper last year, and the Sleeper has not updated yet to have the current ADP, so we are going to stick with Fantasy Pros. Fantasy Pros, if you're watching this, Sleeper, if you're watching this, hit me up with that DM on Twitter. You know, we can sign some type of a deal where I only use your fucking website, but as of right now, we are going to be using Fantasy Pros. Now, this is going to be a PPR mock draft. I have the scoring settings set at half PPR because, personally, I think that PPR on this website just so heavily weighs in the wide receivers I'm going to be drafting like it's a PPR draft. I think that half PPR kind of balances it out a lot more than when I do PPR because I just see too many receivers going really early. Now, this is a 10-team mock draft from the second spot. If you guys would like a mock draft from any spot, please make sure to leave it down below in the description. I'll make sure to try to do it in the next couple of weeks. Once it hits to be draft season, I'm only going to be taking ones from people if the Patreon ends up working out, if people end up paying the $1 to get their mock draft done. Obviously, you do not have to pay me anything. Everything here is for free. So this is a 10-team mock draft from the second overall spot. Now, the roster spots are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wideouts, a tight end, flex, kicker, defense, and 6 bench spots. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So this is obviously a mock draft, and it is against the computer on Fantasy Pros. The computer drafts against you, and it makes it way easier to do a much faster draft instead of this video being an hour long where I'm sitting here in would be in the summers. I'd be sitting here with a bunch of people who have no idea what they're doing. They're going to be drafting kickers early, quarterbacks early, and it ruins the mock draft experience. So right here we have the number 2 overall pick. The first selection of the draft was Mr. Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey. Now, to me, this is a very simple pick. This is the most simple pick ever. If you're at 1, you pick Christian McCaffrey. If you're at number 2, you pick Saquon Barkley. Now, I understand Saquon Barkley did not have the greatest year last year in comparison to his rookie season, but if you look at it, 2019, he had only 13 games instead of 16 for this game or from his season previous. 217 touches, over 1,000 yards, 52 receptions, 438 yards, and 8 total touchdowns. So I think that Saquon Barkley will likely play more games this year. I think that Giants offense will look better with a new head coach this season. So I think that Saquon Barkley is a very easy pick for me here at the 102. Now, after we selected Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara came off the board, followed by Ezekiel Elliott, Michael Thomas, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Nicholas Chubb, DeAndre Hopkins, Joe Mixon, Julio Jones, Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, and Lamar Jackson. So this guy right here is a goddamn idiot. In a 10-team league especially, it is so easy to find a quarterback that is going to suffice for your fantasy team pretty much every single week, just straight up off the waiver wire. And drafting one late is going to be very, very simple. So there's no reason to select a quarterback that early. Any other picks here, none of them really stand out as being that weird of picks. Obviously, Chris Godwin going above Mike Evans. To me, I think I would take Evans over Godwin based on my wide receiver rankings, but I understand why you would do that. Nothing really that weird happened at all here. So now with our team right now, we have Saquon Barkley. We make this pick, and then we wait a couple of picks, and then we pick on the turn. So obviously we're not going to be selecting a quarterback here or a tight end or anything. So we're going to either be going a running back or a wide receiver. Now, wide receiver still available here is Amari Cooper, Kenny Golladay, DJ Moore, Odell Beckham Jr. The running backs available left are Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, Todd Gurley, Miles Sanders, guys like that. So I think I'm going to stick my stake and get 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds because I know the wide receiver that's going to be available in the 3rd round will likely be someone that I like, especially since we're drafting at the 2-9 and then we get a pick at the 3-02. So it'll be very, very soon until we get another pick. So I'm just like my favorite running back still available now. There are 2 guys that are calling my name right now, and that is Josh Jacobs and Austin Eckler now. Eckler to me, I like a lot more if Melvin Gordon is gone. If Melvin Gordon is there, I still like Eckler. Last season, Eckler put up a very nice season. He put up in 2019, 16 games, 132 rushing attempts for 557 yards, 4.2 yards a carry, 92 receptions for almost 1,000 yards, and 11 total touchdowns. So he had a phenomenal year, and I think he's going to be very safe coming into the next year. Now, they have gotten rid of Phillip Rivers, so what does that mean for a running back? It means a whole lot. These new young quarterbacks, they're likely going to be the quarterback of the Chargers, whether that's Tua, like some people may believe, whether it's Herbert, whether it's Love, it does not fucking matter because they will dump the ball off to Mr. Austin Eckler. So I like Austin Eckler here, but I do like one guy slightly more, and that is Josh Jacobs, running back of the Oakland Raiders, which is now, I don't know why it's not updated, they are now the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs had an amazing rookie season. He only played in 13 games, over 1,000 rushing yards, 20 receptions, 116 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. This man was a beast all season long, and I'd love to get 2 workhorses on my team like Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs to start off the draft. Austin Eckler is definitely someone who I'd be looking to, and if Austin Eckler somehow falls to me in the 3rd round, it would be very hard to pivot off of him, even if I have to wait at the wide receiver position. So I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. After I selected Josh Jacobs, George Kittle came at the board, followed by Austin Eckler. So what I noticed is on this website, there's not very much variant for the first tight end that comes off the board. It seems like every single time it is George Kittle, and next week there will be a tight end rankings video, so please make sure to click the subscribe button for that and all the other videos that I put onto this channel. I put a lot of hard work on so that we can win our fantasy football championships, but there's never any discrepancy. It's always George Kittle. To me, Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL and in fantasy football, so I'd personally go with Mr. Travis Kelce there, but I'm going to wait on tight end. Last year, I drafted Travis Kelce early in one league, and I'm not going to let the fact that I drafted him early in one league and he burnt me affect my pick. He was obviously a great tight end, but you can find tight ends super late, especially in a 10-team league, so I'd be perfectly fine with doing that. So I'm going to attack the wide receiver position here. Amari Cooper, according to Fantasy Pros, is the best wide receiver available, followed by Kenny Golladay, DJ Moore, Odell Beckham Jr. To me, Kenny Golladay is by far and away the best wide receiver available on the board right here, very close to DJ Moore. The thing with Kenny Golladay is I believe he has a very reliable quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Now, if Matthew Stafford did not end up getting hurt last season, Kenny Galladay's stats would have looked even better. Kenny Galladay's stats still looked great with David Blau throwing him the ball. He played in a total of 16 games, 65 receptions on 116 targets, 1,190 yards, and he had 11 total touchdowns. I think he's going to be a beast yet again this year in 2020. Why? Nick, why do you not want to go with Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper's great now. Amari Cooper, I read today that maybe something bad happened with Amari Cooper, but that could be fake news. I could have read some fake news. So Amari Cooper is he's just an okay guy. Like, his stats at the end of the year always look great. How do we look at this? He had 2019, 16 games, 79 receptions on 119 targets, 1,189 yards, and 8 total touchdowns. But if you look at his game-by-game split, which I don't think I can find on here, it just doesn't seem to have it. He was very inconsistent. He's a very inconsistent wide receiver, and I love the consistency that Kenny Golladay had all year long. I think DJ Moore is also a great option at this pick, but I do not know who they're going to have at the quarterback position, so that obviously hurts my opinion of DJ Moore. I still think he'll be great, but Kenny Golladay to me is a much safer option here. So after 3 rounds, we currently have Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Kenny Golladay. As the draft moves along, baby. The draft moves along. Odell Beckham comes off the board, followed by Mr. DJ Moore, Travis Kelce, Melvin Gordon, Maki Mock Ingram, Chris Carson, Amari Cooper, Todd Gurley, Keenan Allen, Miles Sanders, Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Juju Smith-Schuster, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Andrews, Stephon Diggs. Holy fucking shit. They did it. Fantasy Pros did it. They added the rookies in here. The rookies are now being picked where they should be being picked. J.K. Dobbins getting selected here in the 4th round. Well, tell me anything about J.K. Dobbins. Do they happen to have his stats on here? No, they do not. Of course, I thought maybe they would have his college stats. J.K. Dobbins looks like one of the best running backs in this class. I think that J.K. Dobbins will be a great pick in fantasy football. So the only weird thing is the rankings don't really show the running back where he went. So obviously Dobbins went here, but Dobbins is nowhere to be found. He's probably all the way down here. You're going to have to scroll all the way down. So we're just probably not going to be touching any rookies in this draft. Over the next couple of weeks, the rookie ADP is going to actually be much more implicated into this. So we are going to be seeing J.K. Dobbins move up in the rankings, so I know correctly when to pick them. So I highly doubt I'll be picking any rookies in this draft unless maybe I pick Joe Burrow, late in the draft. But right now, I think I'm just going to stick off of that, but we will see where those guys go in the draft the way the computers are drafting. So right now, it is our pick, and we currently have 2 running backs and two and one wide out. So we need to get either another wide out, another running back. It is very open right here. In the 4th round, Patrick Mahomes is still available. If he falls into the 5th round, I would likely make that pick. Now, I know I said I like to draft quarterbacks late, but the value of Pat Mahomes in the 5th round is unreal. But something that makes me not want to select him is I know in your guys' at-home leagues, Pat Mahomes is probably going to go in the first 2 rounds. If I'm just being completely honest with you, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson will be gone before you can even mark down the fact that they're going, because the first round goes so fucking fast. So I would say I would just pivot there and go for a wide receiver or a running back here. So if I'm being honest with you guys, I like getting running backs heavily early. I like getting running backs that I know will start on my roster early. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a running back here and see which wide receiver falls to us. Cortland Sutton, A.J. Brown, Devontae Parker. One of these guys should fall to us. I like all 3 of those guys, but I really love this one running back that is still available, and that is just Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake last season comes from the Miami Dolphins. My Miami Dolphins. He was absolutely looked like a travesty on the Dolphins. He comes to Arizona. He says, David Johnson, get the fuck out of here. I am your captain. Now, Kenyon Drake was balling out of fucking control and fucking all of these hoes. Now, his stats were absolutely nasty. In 14 games, he had 170 attempts, 817 yards, 50 receptions, 345 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns. When he was on the Cardinals, he was an absolute baller. He was a top 10 guy pretty much every single week when he was on the Cardinals, when he was starting. So I love Kenyon Drake here. To me, this is a no-brainer to start here as my flex, and that I will attack the wide receiver position. So after we selected Kenyon Drake, Zach Ertz came off the board, followed by A.J. Brown. So the wide receiver that I liked most actually fell to us. Now, the thing is, there is a bit of discrepancy here because I love 2 of these guys. Devontae Parker, I am a Miami Dolphins fan, but that does not really affect my love for Mr. Devontae Parker. I never really liked Devontae Parker. I believed that he was a bust. I believed he would never break out, and boy, did Devontae Parker prove me wrong. 16 games in 2019, 72 receptions on 128 targets, over 1,200 yards with a 9 touchdown total on the year for him. Now, that was an amazing year by Devontae Parker. And you have to take into account that this is going to fall this year. I still think he's amazing. I still think he is an amazing wide receiver too. But Ryan Fitzmagic coming into the 2nd year of a team usually declines. Usually the first year, he's rocking your socks. He's doing amazing. And then the next year, he just falls down a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if Devontae Adams didn't put up as big of a season, but he's still a great option. He's still the wide receiver 1 in Miami. So he's clearly a good pick here. But then we have Cortland Sutton, who's also a wide receiver 1 on his team, just like Devontae Parker. 16 games in 2019, 72 receptions, 124 targets, over 1,000 yards, and 6 total touchdowns now. The thing with Cortland Sutton, he was playing with multiple quarterbacks this year. If you remember early in the season, it was Joe Flacco. If you remember a bit more after Joe Flacco went down, it was Brandon Allen. And now it is Horsecock Drew Lock. So I really do like Cortland Sutton here as well. I am very torn here. I think I've selected Devontae Parker in mock drafts before, so I would rather go with the other guy, Cortland Sutton. I love both of these guys. They're going to be very close in my rankings because I see very high potential in both of these options, but I am going to go with Devontae I messed up. I wanted to go with, how do I revert pick? We go in bike. We are selecting Cortland Sutton. That's who I actually wanted. So after we selected Cortland Sutton, as you can see, I'm sorry there, guys, we are going to go on a bit of a run because we got to wait a while until our next pick. So after we selected Cortland Sutton, we see Le'Veon Bell come off the board, followed by Pat Mahomes, and then Jonathan Taylor. Big claps to Fantasy Pros yet again, selecting a running back from the rookie class. Now, Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin looks like he could be a certified nasty beast. If you want to see me talk about all of these rookies, you can check into the Dynasty videos that are on my channel. Me and Noah in the first one went in depth on some of these guys, and later as the offseason goes on, we're going to go even more into depth, and especially once they sign and when they get drafted, we will give even bigger of a explanation on these guys and how I see they will do in 2020. After that was Kareem Hunt. Now, Kareem Hunt in the 5th round seems a bit too early for me, if I'm being honest with you, especially in a 10-team league. Now, where does Kareem Hunt end up is a bit of a question. He is an RFA, I believe, a restricted free agent, which means it is very likely that Cleveland may bring him back for one more year. Will he want that? What will happen with him? Kareem Hunt got in trouble for smoking that doobie, smoking that weed, apparently, allegedly. Now, Kareem Hunt could be a beast this year. I think he's a very safe pick for your flex option if you get him in like the 7th round. The 5th round seems a bit too high for me, followed by Devontae Parker, Calvin Ridley, Devin Singletary, AJ Green, fucking bum, get him out of there. Deshaun Watson, Evan Ingram, Austin Hooper, Russell Wilson, Darren Waller, Marlon Mack, Robert Woods, and Kerryon Johnson. A bit early for Kerryon as well, at least for my liking, due to the fact that he's so injury prone. I know you might be thinking in the comments, oh, Nick, I watched you last year and you loved Kerryon Johnson. What happened, Nick, you fucking idiot? Well, what happened is Kerryon Johnson is injury prone as fuck. I believe in the talent, and he's also on the Lions. Now, as we can see here, if you go to the roster watch, actually on here is very helpful. 4 quarterbacks have been taken, and 7 tight ends have been selected. So there's still some tight ends still here, and there's a lot of quarterbacks here, so we can definitely wait on the quarterback position and the tight end position. So we're going to start to fill out our bench here. At the running back position, there are guys of the name of James Conner, Phillip Lindsay, David Montgomery, Devontae Freeman, some guys that I do like here, so I think I'll wait on that and go with a wide receiver. Now, there is going to be some debate in this offseason. I know there will be a debate in this offseason between Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Who's the better fantasy option? Now, Tyler Lockett has been safe for the past, gazillion years. He's been a very safe fantasy football option, but DK Metcalf, the rookie, absolutely emerges out of nowhere last season. A lot of people, he was a second-round draft pick in the NFL. He was a guy that was slept upon heavily. 16 games, 58 receptions on 100 targets, 900 total yards, and 7 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett ended up getting a bit banged up in the season, but he still ended up playing well last season. He played a total of 16 games, but he was banged up, and a few of them 82 receptions, over 110 targets. I believe he had the flu as well, over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. So to me, I would probably lean Tyler Lockett just for a bit of safety. DJ Chark is also a guy that I'd be looking at here. I think is a very safe option I'd like to get on my bench. I would like to grab Mr. Tyler Lockett here for the safety over some weeks where I don't like Cortland Sutton or Kenny Galladay as much, because those two are on bad teams. Tyler Lockett is on a good team. Sorry if you are a fan of the Detroit Lions or the Denver Broncos. They just are not all that good. So after we selected Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen came off the board, followed by big man Kyler Murray. Actually, Kyler Murray is more of a little man, but with that said, he was selected next. So there are still a bunch of teams that do not have quarterbacks. Kyler Murray being picked here above a guy like Dak Prescott, to me, is pretty close. I like Kyler Murray a lot, but I think I would lean Dak or Jameis above him. My quarterback rankings video came out yesterday if you would like to check that out. Now, here I am not going to attack a quarterback just yet. I may actually look at the tight ends and see how many tight ends are available that I would potentially like, because either you pick one of those early round guys, you go with a middle round guy, or you just completely tank and wait all the way to the end and pick a guy. And typically sorry, I smacked the mic. We typically go with that strategy of just punting and waiting all the way to the end. Last year, the guy that I was punting and waiting for was Mr. Mark Andrews, and we saw Mark Andrews pay dividends for your fantasy football team. He was a certified fucking beast. If you guys have enjoyed this video thus far, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. I try not to say this a million times in every video, but getting that subscriber count up is going to be very, very good for me. And for you, because you're going to be getting a lot more content. So at this pick right here, we currently have 3 wideouts and 3 running backs. We have a very diverse roster. Now, we still have 5 bench spots remaining. We want to fill most of the bench with running backs, because typically, guys, it is easy to, at the beginning of the season, one of these backup running backs you select, they're just bust. You just realize that they're terrible. You cut their ass, and you add a wide receiver that is a potential wide receiver 2 or flex option all season long. You can easily find on the waiver wire, but you are going to be finding it hard-pressed to find a running back that is going to be worthy of starting every single week off the waiver wire. I guess in a 10-team league, it is much more possible, but if we're talking 12-team league, 14-team league, it is far much harder. Now, right now at the running back position, I love James Conner here. James Conner is one of those guys that, to me, is very injury-prone. He just is. He has yet to complete a season in the NFL. In 2017, he was the backup to Le'Veon Bell. In 2018, he took that starting job from Le'Veon Bell because Le'Veon Bell decided to say, fuck it, I am not going to play in 2018. So 2018, he had 13 games played, 215 attempts, 973 yards in the rushing game, 55 receptions, over 497 receiving yards, and 13 touchdowns. A great season from James Conner. In 2019, he was slightly worse, but he only did play 10 games, got 116 carries, 464 rushing yards, 34 receptions, and 251 receiving yards for 7 touchdowns. So a down year for James Conner, but that's due to injury. So when you're drafting James Conner late, you have to understand that he is a guy that you will be able to play when he's healthy, but he is a guy who will end up likely getting hurt. James Conner is a great running back when he's on the field. He is a guy that at the beginning of the year, he may blow up. He may blow the asshole out of one of those shit tier teams that's in the division. He may be playing up against the Browns early in the season. He may be playing up against the Bengals early in the season as well. So it's definitely possible that James Conner blows some defenses out early and you can just ship him straight off your team. But I do think James Conner is definitely a solid bench option. He's just not the guy that I thought he was last year due to that injury. So after we select James Conner, Julian Edelman came off the board, followed by, let's see, after Julian Edelman, oh shit, where are we? Julian Edelman, DJ Chark, famous Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott, Phillip Lindsay, Matt Ryan, Josh Allen, Sony Michel, T.Y. Hilton, John Brown, Damian Williams, DK Metcalf, Jarvis Landry, DeAndre Swifty Swift of the Georgia Bulldogs, Dave Montgomery, and Scary Terry McLaurin. So I think that once the real NFL draft happens, if I'm being honest with you guys, Swift, a guy like Swift, Taylor, or Dobbins could be going all in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, all around there. I think the 8th round is a steal for Swift, depending on where he goes. But he could be going into a straight-up workhorse opportunity, so that is a great pick from that spot. So now where we are, there is, let's see how many teams have a quarterback. Every team except for me has a quarterback. So right here is when I would probably likely select a quarterback. I know it's the 8th round. Typically, I wait even longer. But if I'm being honest with you guys, in a real-life draft, people will start taking backup quarterbacks before you even select your starting quarterback. Like in these mock drafts, they typically wait. If you're drafting real people, they don't wait. They have no chill. They think, oh, I need 2 great quarterbacks. You're in a 10-team league. You don't even need 2 quarterbacks. You don't need 2 tight ends. So we're going to go and select a quarterback here. So guys still on the board right now. We got Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, and Matthew Stafford. I'll happily select Drew Brees here now. Drew Brees says he's coming bike to the New Orleans Saints in 2020. I think that Drew Brees will put up another good year. He put up a great year last year. Actually, I talked about it in my video. He put up a great year throwing 27 touchdowns in only 11 games. Now, if you project that out to like 16 games, 15 games, he would have probably thrown like almost maybe like 40. Maybe he could have gotten close to 40. So I think that Drew Brees will be a beast yet again next year. The age does not worry me. The only thing that's a bit of a worry is a guy like Carson Wentz may run the ball more than him. So, but obviously that does not weigh too much in my equation. I will select pocket passer Drew fucking Brees. So after we selected Drew Brees, Debo came off the board, followed by Raheem Mostert. Amazing value in the 8th round for Debo Samuel, a guy that showed he could play wide receiver and running back. Not really running back, but he was getting those jet sweeps in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs. He looks like a fucking beast. But right here, we are in the 9th round. And there are still, since it's a 10-team league, there's still a lot of guys I like. And this is going to be a hard decision here between Michael Gallup and Tyler Boyd. But I think I've made my decision here on who I like slightly more. Now, Tyler Boyd is the one I am going to end up selecting. We can look at his stats in 2019 when he was pretty much the head wide receiver in the team all year long. AJ Green decided to say, fuck it, I'm sitting out, I'm hurt, this, that, and the other thing. AJ Green's a baby back bitch. All right, he played Tyler Boyd, 90 receptions, 148 targets, over 1,000 yards, and 5 touchdowns last season, over 1,000 yards as well. He did that last year with AJ Green healthy in most games. This year without AJ Green. I think he plays better with AJ Green on the field. I love Tyler Boyd. I think as of right now, I think Joe Burrow ends up being the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. I know there are reports where Big Dick Joe Burrow decides he's going to decide where he wants to play. He's going to pull an Eli Manning, this, that, and the other thing. Unless he comes to Miami, my team, fuck it. I want him to do that, but if he doesn't end up doing that, why would he come there? Go to Cincinnati. He'll be a baller for Tyler Boyd, regardless who's the quarterback. It does not seem to matter for Mr. Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd was balling out with Andy Dalton. He was balling out with Ryan Finley. It did not fucking matter. I love Tyler Boyd here late in draft. So after we selected Tyler Boyd, as we can look here, after we selected my boy Tyler Boyd, Christian Kirk came off the board, followed by Alshon Jeffrey, Michael Gallup, Mike Williams, Devontae Freeman, Darius Geis, Ronald Jones, Antonio Clown. Terrible pick. Don't pick Antonio Brown, guys. Even if he plays next year, he will be ranked highly in my rankings, but there's no way I would touch him because at 1 second he could be good. The next second he snaps. The next second something comes up in his life and he's cut again. So I would not trust Antonio Brown, David Johnson, Ronald Jones, and then Jerry Jeudy, a rookie coming into the draft, and then Carlos Hyde, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, another rookie coming into the draft, James White, Tariq Cohen, and Hollywood Brown. So at this pick, likely here is when I would go ahead and fuck around and select a tight end. Because if I'm being honest with you, I kind of like one of these tight ends a lot, and I think I might actually pivot off the guy I normally pick. I like Hunter Henry. He has injury problems, but so does Jared Cook. But I'm going to go ahead and get that tandem at the quarterback and tight end position. Now, I don't always advise to do this, but this is kind of a thought experiment I go with on some teams every single year. I end up having a quarterback and a tight end together, and it just feels beautiful when they score those touchdowns. 9 touchdowns for Jared Cook in his first season in New Orleans. I see no reason why he doesn't put up a solid season again. 43 receptions, 65 targets, 705 total total yards and 9 touchdowns. Now, he was not one of those guys who in every single game was balling out of control. He did have those down games, but I still think Jared Cook is a solid option late in your fantasy draft in the 10th round. So after we selected Mr. Jared Cook, Sterling Shepard came at the board, followed by Royce Freeman. So now I'm going to start hammering on some running backs here late that I think have some value. Now, like I said, we are not going to be hammering into these rookie running backs late because I'm not sure where they're going to go. I'm going to wait till the Fantasy Pros ADP shows us where they're going to go so that I can correctly select them and not just completely shatter the draft in half. Now, there are still some guys available that I do like, and they're at the running back position. I think I'm going to first select my boy Duke Johnson. Now, Duke Johnson last year did not have a great season. He did not live up to my expectations, but that's because Bill O'Brien is a certified fucking idiot. Maybe, just maybe, Bill O'Brien will watch the tape in the offseason and see how good Duke Johnson actually was for the team. Now, in 2019, he played 16 total games. He's not much of a running back. He's much more of a wide receiver. 83 attempts in the rushing game for 410 yards, 44 receptions, over 410 receiving yards, and 5 total touchdowns. So I think Duke Johnson has a much better year, especially if they let go of Lamar Miller in the offseason. Duke Johnson is a very safe pick here at the running back position. He's not a guy that's really that injury prone. So after we selected Duke Johnson, Emmanuel Sanders came out the board, followed by Will Fuller, Anthony Miller, Noah Fant, Darius Slayton, Hunter Henry, Tevin Coleman, Preston Williams, O.J. Howard, Tyler Higbee, Carson Wentz, Dallas Goedert, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Latavius Murray, and Will Dissly. Now, actually, I have not mentioned this thus far. If you guys have made it thus far, make sure to comment third leg Greg in the comments. Now, Greg Olsen has signed a $7 million deal with the Seattle Seahawks. That's, 1 year, $7 million deal with the Seahawks, which completely murders Will Dissly, a late round tight end that I liked. Now you might have to be drafting third leg Greg in the late rounds. Now, right now, I'd like to get a wide receiver here, even though I typically would just hammer more running backs. I want to get a guy that I love, and that's just Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones is falling far too much in these drafts for my liking. Marvin Jones last year, 13 games, 62 receptions on 91 targets, 779 yards, and 9 total touchdowns. Marvin Jones had multiple games where he absolutely shit-rocked your opponent. He slapped them upside the face. He slapped them once, and he went back. He followed through backwards. He slapped them up real good. Marvin Jones was playing with Matthew Stafford, and then he was playing with David Blau. David Blau's not that good. I think Matthew Stafford should be good to start next season, and Marvin Jones is a very underrated player who is very, very talented in an offense that likes to air the ball out, especially with Matt Stafford at the helm, so that's who I'm going to select. After we selected Marvin Jones, Brandon Cooks came at the board, followed by Tony Pollard. Now, Brandon Cooks is a guy I'd actually like to talk about. What a fall from grace for Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks was a guy last year that was drafted inside of the top 25 wide receivers. He was high in my opinion. He was a very highly touted wide receiver, and then he ends up getting hurt. He ends up not playing very good at all. I think he only had one game where he was a wide receiver 1 or 2, something like that. He just played shit all year. But this year, maybe he will be much better if he's able to stay healthy. Now, at the discounted price in the 12th round, he's probably a solid pick. So right here, I'm just going to go ahead and handcuff my running back here and get my man Wayne Gallman. He is the handcuff right now for Saquon Barkley. We saw when Saquon Barkley went down, Wayne Gallman played in a few games and actually balled out. So I like Wayne Gallman here late as my handcuff. Now, after typically late in the draft is where all the handcuffs are going to go. So after we selected Mr. Wayne Gallman, Rashad Penny came at the board, followed by Ryan Tannehill, Alexander Madison, Cameron Akers, a rookie running back, TJ Hawkinson, a rookie running back in Zach Moss, Cam Newton, AP going psycho, Adrian Peterson, who signed a new deal to fuck Darius Geist right in the ass, but no one fucks Darius Geist in the ass all that much more than Darius Geist himself. That man gets injured every single season, and then a bunch of defenses went, and kickers, we don't really talk about that because it does not matter to the thing. So we're going to pick Justin Tucker here as our kicker, and we're going to keep waiting. And for the defense, we're going to go ahead and select the best defense available. So how you're going to do that is when it comes to draft season, after the schedule comes out for the NFL, you to go on Google, type in NFL schedule week 1, you find a defense playing a shit offense, and that's the one you draft. And if week 2 they're playing another shit offense, good for you. If they're not, you cut them, you find a new one. I make videos every single week about which defenses to pick up, so it's very simple for you. And there will be a video on which defenses to draft. So I'm going to select the Minnesota Vikings here, and then a bunch of kickers and defenses are likely going to go. And that is the end of the draft. We get an A- grade, a 91 out of 100. Fuck the grade. grade. The grade has nothing to do with my opinion on the team. I think this team is an A+ regardless. So our finishing roster here, we got Drew Brees at the quarterback position, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. Our 2 running backs, our 2 wideouts are Kenny Galladay and Cortland Sutton. Our tight end is Jared Cook. Our flex is Kenyon Drake. Our kicker and defense do not really matter. Our bench is Tyler Lockett, James Conner, Tyler, Boyd, Duke Johnson, Marvin Jones, and Wayne Gallman. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video. If at any point you ended up enjoying, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. I love each and every single one of you guys. If you guys want to see the board, I'm going to scroll down it real quick. Actually, you may not be able to even see on the right side, so fuck it, whatever. Have a great rest of your day. I love each and every single one of you guys. Make sure to have a blessed rest of your day, and make sure to tell everyone that you love them. Goodbye, my friends.